Coming up, I'm going to be walking you through the first chapter of our game, showing you a sneak peek of our character creator, and letting you know about the 4 schools of magic you can choose from. Hi, I'm Sally. I'm the founder and director of Wyrdren Games, and I'm here as part of the London Games Festival official selection to show you Spellbound the Magic Within. Let's jump into the magic. Spellbound the Magic Within is a branching narrative, multiple ending, visual novel adventure game. You play a trainee magician who has just found out they have magic. The town of Wycherley is a magic-safe environment, so it's kind of a hidden town from the rest of the world where magic users can practice their magic freely in comfort and safety. You enter this world and you are instantly confronted by a host of different characters, all specializing in their own style of magic or school of magic. You will pick from one of these townsfolk to teach you how to use magic. You get a little bit of background about each of them before you make that kind of initial choice about who is going to guide you through the rest of the story. And after that, without giving too much away, you are learning to level up and power up your magic, learning how to cast different spells depending on the school of magic that you have chosen and which tutor you've decided. And there's a couple of different key points in the story that lead you to realize that something is going wrong in the forest. There's a sort of dark presence, a dark magic, and slowly the forest is being corrupted. So it's up to you and your tutor to discover who or what is behind this kind of corruption and how you're going to save the day. And again, depending on the choices that you make during those 10 chapters, it'll determine whether you can save the day, what type of ending you get, and the outcome. So let's dive right into Spellbound the Magic Within.
So here we start the game. You are riding in the carriage of a train, about to enter the town of Wycherley. You have been sent here by your family, who have sent you to an old family friend.
Aunt Maggie and her niece Fern are meeting you at the train station.
Here we have Fern, and this is Aunt Maggie, who you are staying with. So she is a family friend. So Fern is just explaining that magic can sometimes skip generations, which is what has happened in your case, meaning that your parents didn't really know what to do with you when your powers started to emerge. Magic is becoming rarer and rarer, meaning that magicians are fewer and far between. And so places like Wycherley, which are specifically designed for magic users to live in, are becoming more rare, and this is one of the last safe havens for magic users in the UK.
So there are 10 chapters in total in Spellbound the Magic Within. During the first chapter, you're basically just being introduced to all of the characters, getting to know some different locations in the game, getting to explore a little bit of the forest, getting to visit the potion shop, heading to the bookstore or cafe, and meeting the characters that kind of reside in those locations.
I think we should run some errands. I feel like that will show you some of the town. So that's one of the points where there's a big branching. So you get to choose kind of which way you go and who you're going to go see. Which I think is really cool because the replayability in this is quite high. You'll get a different experience depending on which choice you make in some of these points. So depending on whether you went to the bookstore, whether you went to the potion shop, would fully depend on who you meet first and kind of how you interact with them. So on this pathway, this is the next person that you meet. This is Melody. So Melody is actually the bookshop owner, and she's come to bring you some beginners books, some guides to magic. Maggie had put these on order for you, so she has come to say hello. One of the things about Melody is that she's a little bit of a busybody. She likes to be very involved, and I think her turning up here first thing on a morning, kind of waiting outside the potion shop, was just to make sure that she would be the first person in town to greet you and meet you so that she has all of the gossip. Her magic is transfiguration, which means she can change objects, create new items, and she's going to give you an example of this now, in which she can change her hair color. And, you know, you didn't hear it from me, but that's maybe why she has beautiful pink hair without ever having to retouch her roots. So she's trying to convince you to come and learn transfiguration with her. She thinks it's the best school of magic. Of course she would. It's her school of magic. She obviously thinks this is the best choice for you.
You have 4 characters that you can choose from to teach you magic. You have Melody, who runs the bookstore, and she will teach you transfiguration magic. You have Fern, who works at the potion shop, and she will teach you conjuration magic. Theo, who is the forest ranger, will teach you abjuration magic. And Ari, who runs the local cafe, will teach you divination magic. At the end of the first chapter, you'll get to choose one of these tutors, and who you choose depends on the story you get from then on.
So here we're going to see the inside of Maggie's potion shop for the first time. This was one of my favorite backgrounds to draw. I tried to make sure it looked really cluttered and a little bit disorganized with these open drawers. I like to think that Fern is a little bit forgetful and maybe leaves things out on the sides that she shouldn't. One of the other things that you'll very quickly learn about Fern is that she's very, very clumsy and very often ends up in a little bit of trouble with Maggie due to her slippery fingers.
So I chose to do a 2D game because for the first year of development, I was a solo developer. The art style is based mainly off my own art style.
Fern is just letting you know that you're going to head over to Theo's house first. So Theo is the town ranger. He lives in the woods slightly away from town. And him and Fern are pretty good friends. He is quite shy. He lives obviously away from town. He likes to have his privacy. So the fact that he's letting you come say hi and have a look at some of his creatures, because one of his jobs is to look after the magical creatures in the woods, is pretty special. So he's just warning Fern about the dangers of wild creatures, which obviously she is completely ignoring because the last time she saw them, she figured that they were very, very cute. So these are jackalopes. They are a hare crossed with a deer. They're kind of like a rabbit with little horns. And I think I agree with Fern. I think they are very, very cute. And one of the things that Theo is doing is actually rehabilitating them before he lets them back out into the wild. So he's just giving them some greens and some whiskey, because this is a jackalope's favorite treat, is a little bit of whiskey. So this is the runt of the litter. He is a lot smaller than the others, and so Theo is just checking him over, having Fern hold him so that he can check how he's doing. This is Theo using some abjuration magic, and you are asking what does that do, and he explains to you that abjuration magic is a form of protection magic, so it's barriers, it's shields, it's locking. It's pretty handy for a forest ranger to be able to use barriers and protection while stalking the forests, looking after wild and magical creatures. So it's a pretty powerful form of magic. And you ask if it was Theo who creates the barrier around town, and he just lets you know that that takes a lot of magic, and he in fact didn't make it himself, but just patches it up whenever he finds an area that's weak, or maybe an area that someone could break through. He just reapplies magic to those areas and makes sure that it's secure. So Theo also has a garden in which he supplies Maggie at the potion shop with fresh ingredients. So he has some ragwort for you, And it turns out that he accidentally gave the ragwort to Ari at the cafe and instead has a black tea leaf order. Given that ragwort is poisonous when ingested, this is a little bit of trouble because maybe Ari has already made some tea with it. You and Fern offer to go and switch the packages, and he says that you can come and visit again if you want, which is very unusual because he is a shy boy. Fern just lets you know that this is a really good sign, that you obviously made a really good impression on Theo, and like I said, the choices you make determine how the characters feel about you, so they will react differently depending on the choices you make. So obviously so far, we've been doing a pretty good job at impressing Theo. You make your way back into town and you head over to the cafe so that you can switch the ragwort and black tea. So Ari runs the cafe, and luckily Ari hadn't started making tea before Theo's message came in. Just delivering some moon water to Ari, and they welcome you to the village, and they are going to offer you a little bit of insight. So Ari's magic is divination magic, so this is glimpsing the future. As they explain, it's a little bit more complex than that, but Fern encourages you to take their advice, and Fern will meet you back at the potion shop. So Ari offers you a tarot card reading. So you have to think of a question, and I think I would like to ask about a teacher. So you pull a card. So Ari offers to throw you a welcome party. One of the things you'll find in Spellbound is that these characters love any excuse to throw a party or get dressed up or celebrate in any way. Any sort of milestone they love to celebrate. So Ari insists that you must come back later. As you can see, Fern is extremely excited about this. And I think that that's barely any time to get ready. I think we need to look great. So one of the things we also tried to do is make sure that they had lots of outfit changes during the game. I didn't want this to feel like everybody wore the same outfit every single day. You know, they get dressed up like everybody else for special occasions.
So close to the end of chapter 1, you will start to take a test to determine which way your magic is leaning. This will be based on the choices you've made so far, and it'll just tell you which school of magic you are leaning towards. So let's take a look at that now.
So this is the back room at Ari's cafe. So this is actually a private room that you can rent for special occasions, in which Ari uses for parties and get-togethers and soirees and all sorts. Ari loves to be a host. So you notice that Theo is here, you notice Melody's here, so that everybody you've met earlier in the chapter is already here. Maggie leads you towards a new character who you haven't met yet. So this is Mayor Verona. And they run the town, basically. They are the elected official of Wycherley. They've been mayor for a little while. I tried to go with a sort of executive goth look for her. I love corporate goth looks, but still a little magical. You know, she still likes to dress up and look good for her work duties. So you start to get a little nervous because obviously this is a public space and everybody is going to see you take this test. Who should we go talk to? Who would make us feel calm? So I think that Fern and Theo would make me feel calm. Mayor Verona is actually Theo's boss, technically. He reports to Verona as he is the town ranger, so he gives all of his information back to Verona. And Fern is just telling you that she doesn't understand why Verona is mayor of the town, as Mayor Verona has kind of a history. Like, she's very famous for being a super powerful magician. And so Fern is a little bit confused by this. Why would she stay in this tiny village? Whereas I guess Theo is the counter to that, in which he likes his village. He likes having a purpose and a place and being involved in looking after the town. Whereas Fern is ready to leave. She's ready to fly the nest. She wants to get her magic sorted and then get out of here. It's kind of good that they're friends because they have very different opinions, which is totally fine. Everybody has different opinions, but it's good that they kind of balance each other out. Fern is really excited that you're about to be tested. Theo, on the other hand, says he doesn't envy you. He would hate to be tested in front of a load of people. Obviously, that's his shy nature coming through. Fern is like, ignore him. You will be totally fine. You know, everybody here likes you. Everybody here is here to support you. And Theo gets a little shy as he says you should probably learn abjuration, and he would love to teach you. Fern also offers to teach you conjuration, so you have many options here. Everybody is very, very willing to teach you. You have made a pretty good impression. So you start your test in front of this bowl of what I think looks like starlight and galaxies, and your test starts now. Breathe in and you start to smell something, and it smells like... what does it smell like? I think Lily of the Valley. I love Lily of the Valley. It's a beautiful scent. And I start to see something. So what are we seeing? Blue sky, a crackling fire, a rushing stream. I think we see a leafy clearing. And now dipping hands into the bowl to feel around for something. This one. Just telling you which magic you are leaning towards. So there's now a symbol at the bottom of the basin, and the mayor explains that it's the symbol for abjuration and divination. So we actually lent more towards, in this run through, we lent towards 2 different schools of magic. So that means we equally are in the middle of those 2 schools of magic. So sometimes it will explain that you're only leaning towards 1 school of magic. That will be dependent on the choices you've made. Whereas in this run through, we've actually equally been placed between 2 schools of magic. So that just tells you how indecisive I am, really. So now we get to choose a tutor. Think for me, it's...
One of the things that we were really, really excited about was being able to offer really diverse options in our character creator. So we've recently done an update to our character creator, and I want to show it to you right now. This is just a little mock-up of some of the characters that you can create inside of our character creator. We're just finalizing some of the UI on it right now, but hopefully you'll be able to see kind of a range of things that you can do inside of this character creator. We actually took some suggestions from our social media. So on TikTok, it was suggested that we offer hearing aids and skin textures. So we've actually added those in, and we do this by talking to our community and finding out what they want to see and making sure that we can provide that. And that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for watching the game, and I want to say a massive thank you to the London Games Festival for allowing me to showcase my game today. You can follow us on social media to keep up with everything that we're doing. We are Wyrdren or Wyrdren Games on everything, and if you want, you can wishlist Spellbound the Magic Within on Steam. Thanks!